welcome you all into episode 24 of Trojan Talk. I'm Zach Duranko here with Jeff Christianberry and Cole Purvis. How you guys doing this morning?
Awesome.
Great.
That's awesome. We'll start off by talking about some boys lacrosse. Last night, a 5-4 triple overtime dub for the boys team in Scarborough. Scarborough, one of those teams last year they struggled with, and they were able to overcome them. Only one loss this year. They have a strong team, and we're looking forward to Cape. So I want to get your guys' thoughts on the team so far this year, and what do you want to see from them in that Cape game on Friday?
Alex St. John was the hero, sounds like, last night in overtime. And Scarborough's always going to be a team that's going to give you a tough battle, even if they're not the most skilled. Mm-hmm. One of those tough road wins that kind of gets you towards the playoffs. I mean, you're going to see, one of the stories in Class A lacrosse this year is South Portland, who were just dreadful last year. They're like 2-11 or 3-11, something like that. And this year they're beating almost everybody. TA, we lost to them already this year. So you get that whole little kind of corridor of, TA, Scarborough, and South Portland, who are always going to give you a game. What we've seen now, this is the second time we've seen a low-scoring win for the team. They beat Falmouth 4-1 a couple weeks ago. So definitely finding different types of ways to win. Obviously, this Friday against Cape will be the big challenge of the year. But, solid victory. 3 overtimes. I mean, it's a long game and a lot of different tensions. But good for Alex to get the game-winning goal. And nothing but good positive vibes here. They're looking to be one of the top teams and they're going to make a deep run.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, those wins really test your grit, those triple overtime wins. And they're kind of a young team. I know they do have Alex St. John and Cody Ruff and guys like that, but a lot of their top goal scorers are sophomores. And so those type of wins are just great heading into the playoffs here. But Cape is obviously the big measuring stick for them. They got crushed by them last year.
Yep.
And I think they're going to have to score a lot of goals to keep up with Cape. They have to keep up with the scoring. I don't think it's going to be a low-scoring game with two talented offenses. So it'll be fun to watch, and we'll see what happens. And you said the other day on the girls lacrosse broadcast that Cape is a beatable team. They lost to Yarmouth, so they're not undefeated, and they are vulnerable. So we'll see if TA can pick up a big win.
Yeah, it'll be a good game, I think. Definitely not the 17-2 trouncing at Hill Stadium last year. We got some girls lacrosse as well. Cole, you and I did that game on Monday, the makeup game from April 29th. The girls got a nice big win, 17-1 over Noble. 6 goals from Morgan Bulldog. It was just an all-around great game. And Cole, I just want to get your thoughts on that. What do you think? How does that boost the momentum now? The team is 4-4 going into the rest of the season.
It's great to get back to 500, and that was by far the most complete game that they've played all season. It was obviously a blowout, 17-1, and they started fast. That's the big thing. They scored, I think it was 4 or 5 goals in the first 5 minutes. It was just an incredible start. And then Noble kind of settled into the game, but TA still stayed on a roll there in the second half when they put the subs in. The subs played well. Everybody played well. They were really good at moving their feet defensively. For TA, they got a lot of easy passes and a lot of easy looks, especially early in the game, and they didn't give that to Noble. So they were really good on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, I think it was a good game, and good for them to get to 500% at this point in the season with only a few games left. We're not talking about baseball and softball. I know baseball had a shutout last night, 2-0 over Chevrolet. Good pitching from Cody Belker and Josh Kopetsky. I'm not sure what the softball score was, but overall, I just want to say I think the spring sports right now are doing really well. I think every team, even though the records may not show it, each team is having some big wins. They're doing a great job, and all the teams are just towards the end of the season are playing really well. So. It'll be fun to watch and see.
So they won 8-5.
Yep.
Softball over Chevrolet as well, and those two teams. The baseball team's getting a lot of the publicity, and obviously with some star players, and they had I caught the end of their 10-0 win over Bonnie Eagle last week. Just rolling right now, and when Cody's on the mound, it could beat any team in the state, of course.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of when he can't pitch every playoff game. What are they going to do? They have some decent second and third pitchers, but. Baseball's always fun, and we talk about it every year. Especially this baseball team, which historically has underachieved. Maybe not these players specifically, but year after year, always a top 2 or 3 team in Class A South, and just not getting the job done in the playoffs. Yep. I'll never forget. It was Lambert, Ben Lambert, who was a fantastic player and played in college, or does play in college. Maybe he's a senior now. Just a fantastic player. Went out in the first round against Wyndham. I think it was like it was maybe like a 2 versus 10 seed thing, and we lost. I mean, Ben just pitched horribly, gave up 5 or 6 runs in the first inning. We can never fight back. So it's just how it is. Baseball's kind of funny like that. And Just got to pile up those wins. And for softball as well, again, that's a little different situation because you can put your same pitcher out there every game, but eventually you run into a pretty dominant pitcher as well. So I think the general feeling for all these teams is everyone's going to be in the mix. Girls lacrosse is around 500. They're gonna have more of a struggle in the playoffs probably to get through to a deep playoff run. But the other teams right now looking fantastic.
Yeah. We'll finish up talking about some TA sports by giving you our TA TV schedule. Again, as we've talked about it all week, Friday. This week we have the boys blackout game, but versus Cape at 6:30. That'll be a big one. We also have girls lacrosse home at versus Biddeford at 4:30 next Tuesday, and then next Wednesday we have boys lacrosse Gorham at 4:30. Those will all be on TA TV. Hopefully,
Gorham would be a good matchup.
Yeah,
too.
it'll be a good one.
Everyone's going to focus on the Cape game, which they should. But that Gorham match, when I asked Coach Hersey, he said that's the game they've been circling this year, besides the Cape game, of course, because last year. Was it twice that Gorham beat us here?
I think it was Falmouth. But
Falmouth,
Gorham was a good team last year as well. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
And only one of these teams is undefeated, by the way.
Who is it?
Oh, boys tennis.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Big win against Kennebunk yesterday. But, I mean, it's interesting. So in boys tennis, it's basically Kennebunk's the only challenge, correct? Has any other team won a game?
Falmouth and Portland are decent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's like every day I'm looking at Twitter, it's like, boys tennis wins 5-0, and it's like 6-0, 6-0, 6-0, 6-0. I mean, obviously yesterday was a lot more difficult, but I mean those are the two teams we'll probably see in the regional final like usual.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's going to do it for the high school sports here at TA. We'll talk about some professional sports. Start off with the Bruins, which it's a tough topic here for me. Bruins lose in Game 7 of the Canes in the first round. A tough loss. They had a good team. I think they pushed them well. It was the home team wins every game kind of situation where the Canes won all 4 at home. Bruins won the 3 at home. But the big question at the end of this season is will Patrice Bergeron play next year? His contract is up. He's getting older. I'm not sure where he'll be. I don't know if you guys have any thoughts on this, but I think he's coming back. I think he knows his team's got a lot of potential in the next few years, especially, with some of these guys, bigger players with only a few years left on their contract. So I think it'll be a good time for him to play one more year. But do you guys have any thoughts on what do you think he's going to do?
Well, first of all, it's a bizarre series. Not only the home team win, but there really is no close games. Like the Game 7 was the only game that wasn't decided by 2 or more goals, and really that was just the last minute. I mean, I know they had a chance there at the end, but just really weird how that worked. That's why the Canes are definitely the better team if you look at it on paper, but. As far as Bergeron goes, I think he's done. And I only say that because of the way that all of those guys reacted after the game, especially Marchand when they interviewed him after, and he's basically in tears being like, we really want one more run for him, that kind of thing. I don't know. I don't know. I looked at your graph there for the salary cap, and you're hearing, though, that all these, Sweeney and all these guys are coming out now saying they got to find ways to create more offense when it comes down to it. Can they do that in an offseason where they don't have a ton of cap space? I mean, who's of those? That's the thing. Is like when you have these veteran guys, those kind of 3 really big offensive guys, are they going to get any better? Probably not. They're probably going to either stay the same or get a little bit worse. So you're really relying on all the other guys to get a little bit better if you're not going to be able to sign anybody. Is those incremental? Unless you think someone's going to really take a big step, are those incremental changes going to lead to a Stanley Cup? I'm just thinking of Bergeron. Yeah. If you're him, you're like, all right, do we want to go through a whole nother season? Unless they're going to sign him for super, super cheap, which would be great.
Even if he plays next year, he won't be as good. I don't think he'll be like this terrible player like Joe Thornton now with Florida, plays 4th line.
He still plays.
He still plays.
What is he, like 45 years old?
Yeah, but he'll still be really good. I don't know. I think he'll take less. The same thing that Tuukka Rask did, where he knew that they were in a cap situation where they couldn't give him a lot of money. So he said, "Yeah, I'll take the 1 year, $1 million deal." But
they need to sign a center, though. If he goes, what do they have at center? Like, they don't have a top 1 or 2 center, and that's good. That's a problem.
The free agency market's pretty good this year, though. I will say.
Yeah, that's good.
All right. Well, now we'll talk about some Celtics. The dominant Game 7 win over the Bucks last week. That was awesome. Watching Grant Williams shoot 7 of 18 from three-point shooting. But last night, I don't know if you guys watched yesterday's game. I did. That was the first 2 quarters were fantastic. Rob Williams playing well. They had no Marcus Smart, no Al Horford, playing really well. And then that third quarter was a 22-2 run. They just lost it. They went down. Scoring was 39-14 in that quarter.
Something like that, yeah.
It was terrible. Celtics lose by more than 10, I think, something like that. But it was a decent game. You're missing some players. I want to get your thoughts. Celtics, they get by the Bucks, but then not a very good game 1. What do you guys think?
Well, I think you need to respect the Heat. And playoff Jimmy Butler is a real thing. He can turn it on and be a star. And he had 41 last night. A lot of those coming on free throws, which the Celtics desperately needed to stop him getting to the line. That was a big problem last night. And they have role players that can step up, and they're a lot more of a confident team. They have a lot more swagger with shooting and everything than the Bucks did. A lot of guys really hurt the Bucks, like Grayson Allen, Pat Connaughton missed some big threes.
Almost every three.
He
was terrible.
They just like Tyler Hero just stepping into these shots. He's so confident. Same with Max Strus hit a couple last night, and Gabe Vincent. These guys who probably seemed like nobodies at the beginning of the season are stepping up in big ways for them, and their confidence. They're not as talented as the Celtics, but they are confident. I'm surprised Duncan Robinson. He got 0 minutes last night. I thought he was one of their best role players.
I think he was underperforming a little bit at the end of this year, so they took him off because, as you said, Max Strus and Gabe Vincent are playing very well.
But again, if you're the Celtics, obviously you can't panic. You were down Smart and Horford, and that big Miami Heat run in the third quarter probably doesn't happen with Marcus Smart in there leading the defense. So, I mean, I think the Celtics will probably pull the series out in 7 games if they can get healthy. But you have to respect the Heat, and I don't like how people were saying Celtics in 4, Celtics in 5.
Nice.
So when you look at the Bucks, again, when you look at the big picture at the Bucks series, Celtics are definitely the better team. They probably should have won in 5 or 6 games. Let's be honest. Like, they choked away. They didn't play well in Game 1, and they choked away Game 5. And if they win those 2 games, that's a much easier series. Yeah. I mean, really, the Bucks ended up being a one-man crew. I mean, again, Connaughton. Connaughton stinks. Like he just. There was that one game where he was like 0 for 4. I think it was Game 6. Like, it was like 3 of their role players were all like 0 for 9 from 3. I mean, they shot, what were they, like 5 for 37 or something from 3 in Game 7. That game definitely, I mean, I think the Celtics win anyway, but definitely the game changed at the end of the first half. It was a close game. And then the Bucks had 2 possessions in a row where they got nothing out of it. They got a turnover, and then they had, at the end, they were down by 2 at the end of the first half. Giannis gets stolen for some reason and then fouls Marcus Smart. There's 3 free throws right there. It's a 5-point game, and I was like, that's it. That's a wrap. And it was disgusting. Second half if you're a Bucks fan. So for the Heat, I mean, I was sitting there at halftime texting some of my group chats being like, this is going to be a sweep. Like, unless Kyle Lowry comes back, this is going to be a sweep because the Celtics are better at basically every position, unless maybe you can say like Butler and Tatum are about the same. Yeah. But the rest of the Bucks looked like horrible. Now, if you take out the third quarter last night, which I know you can't do, but if we're going to do it anyway, if you do that, then the Celtics beat them in every quarter. Yeah, and looked better.
Every quarter they scored 6 or 7 more points. They played well. Rob Williams had like 3 blocks in the first quarter. Yeah, it was crazy.
So what's that mean? I mean, that I know, look, third quarter, it's a 4-quarter game. What does that mean? I mean, if they get Marcus Smart back, do they not have that kind of killer quarter? Maybe. I think Peyton Pritchard, way too many shots there in the second half of the game.
He hit a couple in the first.
He did, but he's a role player. He should not take. He took as many shots as Jaylen Brown last night, or very close to it.
He's one guy that I wish would just get stuffed. He needs to be humbled.
That's what it is. It's like he had a little bit of Marcus Smart in him. He's like, I hit a few shots, and there was one possession late in that game last night. Maybe the Celtics were down like 10, so the game wasn't like. It wasn't over, and it wasn't. And he took the ball down the floor and just like did a move and then jacked up a 3 and it clanked off. Like, it was like 6 minutes left. Like, Tatum touched the ball, Brown touched the ball. I'm like, this can't be what the Celtics want to happen when you're down by 10. So, as far as the series goes, I mean, it's so hard. Like, I don't know the status of Lowry. Like, when is he going to come back? Like, I think if he comes back, he's a bigger addition than Smart and Horford. I think in terms of adding back to your team, because if you look at the game last night, you mentioned some of those guys that hit threes for the Heat. I mean, are they really going to be doing that every game? The Strauss guy, like I didn't even know who he was. I had no idea until last night.
I think Gabe Vincent and him were one of them was a D2, and the other one's a D3 player.
Yeah, well, I will say I'm going to get annoyed by the whole PJ Tucker argument, the whole like narrative. If they mention every game that he's 37 years old, which I'm 37, so like that makes me feel really old. But it's just, I mean, I think I think sitting here right now, assuming Smart comes back, I still think Celtics in 6. I think the Celtics take the next 3 games. Okay. And then the Heat will take Game 5, and the Celtics win back home. Like I mean, the home court advantage is still nil for the Heat. I mean, this game was.
Although Miami had a nice crowd.
Yeah, I think their whole arena just looks cool with all the white.
It is cool. I've been there. It's nice.
I think it would be cool to see in the finals, like when LeBron was there.
But up until that game, they had like half capacity because no one wants to go to those early round games or even the regular season games.
Well, I just look at it when it was the late first half and the Heat looked like dead in the water. they were down 10. The crowd was not into it all. Like, you see the Boston crowd sometimes if they're down, like, trying to get up and trying to get on their team to be better. So I just don't think it's that much. I mean, obviously, in the crowd in the second and the third quarter went crazy because who wouldn't when you scored 22 points out of 24? So,
Yeah.
I mean, it could, again, this series is so hard to predict. I really think Celtics in 6. I could see it. I could see Heat in 5. Like, it really could. Like, if the game goes like last night, I do agree that Jimmy Butler. What I like about Jimmy Butler the most, and this is my biggest criticism of Tatum, and I've heard this from others, is like Tatum doesn't seem like he hates to lose. You know what I mean? Like whereas Butler, I feel like he looks like he hates to lose. Like when they were losing last night, he looked pissed off. And I never see that from Jason Tatum. Even after they lost Game 5 last week against the Bucks, in the press conference, he didn't even seem that bothered. And yeah, you could say like that's confidence they were going to come back, but I think that's just him. And I think a lot of his generation, you know, it's a little bit more about the money. You know, they're all making $40-50 million a year. Makes it a little bit easier.
Yeah.
But when you compare it to back in my day, when you had Jordan, when you had Bird, these guys, like, they hated to lose.
I completely agree.
And I just don't see that fire in Jason Tatum. And that's been one of his things this whole career has been like, how much does he really care? And look, he's a fantastic player. And if he could get that little bit more killer instinct, and which he shows in flashes like he did in Game 6, then he could be a really top 5, top 10 guy.
I think that about Curry, who's my favorite player, but I don't think he has that killer instinct. I don't think the Warriors look that mad when they lose. And well, I know what you mean by Jimmy Butler. He's just a great leader, and he's a star. When it matters, he is a star.
How did the Philly let him go? That would have been like
they chose Harris and Simmons, which was just But well, that was a good transition, Cole, with Steph Curry. We'll talk. I want to get you guys quick thoughts on Mavs versus Warriors. Game 1, I think, is tonight. I think that's going to be in our pick the winners this week. But quick thoughts. What do you think the series is going to be, and why?
Well, I know he's got a little more thoughts than me, so I'll say Warriors in 5. I think that Dallas train is about coming to an end. Luka's a stud, but the Warriors, they're on a mission now. Now that they know that the Suns aren't in their way, I think it's going to be a pretty easy series for them.
All right, cool.
I think the Mavs, obviously Luka, it's all about how you defend him. We were talking about this the other day. You probably throw Draymond on him, and Draymond can handle him because it's not like Luka is an overly quick player. He kind of plays at a slow pace. And then you can also throw Jordan Poole on him and maybe even a little bit of Clay. So it's all about mixing it up and confusing Luka. And if they can keep him out of the 30s and scoring, they really should have no problem. But that's hard to do. If Luka drops 40 a couple times, you can be down in the series. The Mavs really have no big man. They have Dwight Powell is starting for them at center. Their role players are really limited. I know Dinwiddie did step up. He's a good veteran, but I don't see it with this team. They're kind of a one-man show sometimes. So I'm going to go Warriors in 6. Luka will have a couple games, but it's a really safe pick. That's a popular pick, Warriors in 6, but I think that'll happen.
Well, I think Luka, one of the reasons they won that series is because he took it personal. There was a lot of side crap with the fans and everything else in Phoenix, and so you saw that Luka looked like we're winning this series no matter what. And then obviously the Suns just totally laid an egg in Game 7. I don't think you're going to have that against the Warriors. They're just because there's too many. You can get mad at Curry, but then there's still 4 other guys that could shoot and score 30. So I think it's been a nice run for the Mavs, and the Warriors Celtics would be delicious, but Warriors Heat would be interesting too because they're two different types of team.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go Warriors in 6. I think that's a safe pick. All right, I got this quick little segment I want to do, and it's just like a pick between who you think is better currently, right now, who you think is better.
So this is not like what I build a team around. This is literally
I just want to rapid fire. I want to hear who you think is better. Just you two, right?
Yep.
Okay. And then some of these I might say overall because some of these guys didn't play a lot, but we're gonna start. Just go quickly. All right, Luka Doncic or Jason Tatum.
Rapid fire.
Tatum.
Tatum.
Doncic doesn't play defense. If he played a little bit of defense, he'd be better.
All right. Klay Thompson or Jaylen Brown?
Jaylen Brown. Klay Thompson's washed.
All right. Rudy Gobert or Bam Adebayo?
Bam.
Rudy.
Oh, okay. Joel Embiid or Nikolai Jokic?
Joel Embiid.
Embiid.
Giannis or Jokic?
Giannis
for sure.
All right. And then this is overall in their career. Damian Lillard or Kyle Lowry?
Damian Lillard, because he's had a few actual moments. Yep. I couldn't name a single moment Lowry was like, wow.
All right. Overall, Anthony Edwards or LaMelo Ball?
I don't know.
You leave it. No, Cole's
that's really hard, but I would go. That's tough. I would go Anthony Edwards.
I'd go Anthony Edwards too.
Sure.
Right. And then the last
I'm
one.
a fan of Anthony Edwards.
Ja Morant or Trae Young?
Ja.
Trae Young.
Why?
Wow.
Why? Okay,
No,
we got to
no,
stop
no.
that one. Why? Why do you think Trae Young is
I
better
think
than
Trae Young
Ja?
has. I just think he has a longer shelf life in the league. I think John Morant had an unbelievable year, but I think people will be a little bit easier to find a way to defend him.
Yeah.
But they're both great. I mean,
I mean,
God,
yeah,
I love
they're
them.
all-
I
yeah,
love
they're all
them on
great.
the Celtics, but I know the Ja thing. You know, he had a great season, but we'll see if he can do it again next year.
Yeah. That was interesting. I don't know why did you choose Rudy Gobert over Bam Adebayo?
Well, I watched Bam last night, and I just feel like he has moments where he's completely dominant, and then there's long stretches of that game where I didn't even see him. You know what I mean? And for me, and I see Rudy Gobert, whatever I watch him play, and it's just, I mean, it's close. I mean, Bam again is a good player as well, but I think I discounted because I think he should be even better. You know, and we'll see over the series. Maybe he will end up being better, but you know, last night he needs to assert his dominance a little bit more. The Celtics got to the rim a little too easy in that first half.
Yep. All right, so we're gonna finish up this week with our pick the winners. This is week 6. So before we start, I got a special little thing for you guys here because I'm winning by a lot and I want to help you guys out. So
Okay.
for one game this week, you can place a double or nothing bet if you want. So if you think the team's really gonna win, you can put 2 points down on it. But again, if you lose it, then you lose 2
We
points.
are doing one change this week, Cole. I did mention this.
Yeah. So this is I heard some criticism that I get to hear your picks first. And then I get to pick, so that
Correct.
might affect this. So I will go
subconsciously.
first,
Okay.
and then you guys will go.
Sounds good.
All right. So we're gonna start this week with Mavs at the Warriors, game 1. I'm gonna go Warriors for game 1. I don't know about now. You guys can.
I'll go Warriors.
Warriors.
I'll go Mavs, so it's a win-win. Either I'm right for my pick or the Warriors
All right.
win.
All right, that's a good one. Okay. We got the first game of the Rangers at the Hurricanes. I am going to pick Rangers with the little kind of upset.
I'm going Hurricanes.
Hurricanes.
Oh, you
I've
guys-
seen how that building is when it's crazy.
All right. And then the third game is going to be another NHL one. We got the Edmonton Oilers at the Calgary Flames, Battle of Alberta, game 1 in Calgary. I'm going to go Calgary, and I'm going to put 2 points on this one because
Ooh.
I don't think Edmonton is going to be able to handle.
Connor McDavid. Give me the Oilers. Not a double, but just
Okay.
a one.
I know nothing about either of these teams, so
The Battle of
Oilers.
Alberta. It's like the biggest. It's going to be like the biggest thing.
He probably can put Alberta on a map. It's in Canada somewhere in the central, right?
No, not. Well, I wouldn't say central. I'd say like if this is like that big stretch of Canada up top, it's like here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it's kind of west.
Yeah.
Near British Columbia.
Oilers.
Okay. All right. Then we got.
He'll be glued to that one.
All right. We got the game 2 Celtics at the Heat. I'm gonna go Celtics.
I'm doing the double down, and I'm going Celtics as well.
Me too. I'm going 2 points for the Celtics.
All right. You guys.
This is when we're going to gain on Zach here.
Or you guys lose double and I lose only one when the Heat
True.
win. All right, and then the last one, we got the Mavs at the Warriors game 2. I'm gonna go. I'm taking this off. If my first game was right and Warriors win, I'm gonna go Warriors again. So 2-0 series. So I'm gonna go Warriors.
I will go Warriors as well.
Me too.
All right, so 3 Warriors. We got similar picks this week, but
Getting down to nitty gritty, and so it really comes down to who you think's going to win these series. And
Yeah.
it's the first round you kind of randomly throw out team. I think Philly's going to win this game, or
yeah. All right, so I'll just give you guys the standing. So I'm 18-7. Jeff, you are 13-12, and Cole, you are 10-15. So you've come a long way from
Didn't I start 1-9?
You started 1-9. That's right.
Pretty good.
That is
Pretty good.
that is a great record.
pretty good clip after being horrible.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's gonna do it for episode 24. Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you all next week for the next episode of Trojan Talk.